everyone, it's Teresa from Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love sharing art from my heart and helping you create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, and quick art projects. This is what we will be painting today in the Falloween collaboration. Thank you to House of Noble and Buffie Designs for coordinating this YouTube collaboration. Please hit the subscribe button, and then after you watch this, go ahead and watch the rest of these talented creatives in this playlist and hit the subscribe button for them too. I can't wait to paint this with you. So I have traced out this rather large pumpkin on this 11 by 14 canvas. I'm going to turn you guys around and we are going to get started. The color list is in the description. I will be using a liner brush, a large flat brush, which is about 1 inch wide, and then about a 1/2 inch wide flat brush. The first two colors I have out on my palette are deep ochre and white from Decor. You can use any kind of goldish yellow. You can really use any colors you want. I'm not big on saying, oh, it has to be the colors that I suggest or put in my list. Nope, it's your art. You do your art your way. I'm just going to show you the colors I use and how I paint this really cool magical pumpkin. So I'm going to load my brush with white. I put a little bit of pressure on my brush. I want the fibers to flare out so it picks up a lot of paint. And then I'm going to stick the corner in the other color, and in this case it's the gold. And I'm just going to pick a place and I'm going to start painting. Every time I go back to my palette now, I'm going to stick a corner in white, a corner in gold, and I'm going to come back. When I want to get close to my design, I stand my brush up. It's okay if you get paint on your pumpkin. It's okay if you get paint on your design. This is acrylic paint and you can fix anything. I am not going all the way to the edges, and you will see why as this painting progresses. You can, because I'm going to be painting over it anyway, but you don't have to. The idea behind this background is to be messy and to have lots of variation of whatever color you pick. In my case, it's gold. And you want it to be messy and have some character. You don't want your background to be just like a monotone one color. You can see I'm like figure eighting my brush or my wrist. It may seem like I'm going a little quick, but I'm doing these figure eights with my brush. And I am going a little quick because you want your paint to blend. And your paint blends the best when it's wet. When you're painting wet on wet, you're going to get the best blend with your paint. So I'm going to come in here. I might hit over my vine a little bit. I'm okay with that. I'll try to avoid it, but it's okay. We're going back in with black for that, so I'm not really too worried if I go over my vine. I even just dripped a little bit on my pumpkin, and that's okay. Again, if you are patient enough with acrylic paint, you can fix anything. The point of this painting is to have fun, which is actually the point of most of my paintings and my tutorials. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. I have dozens of start to finish acrylic art tutorials with supply lists, and some even have access to the tracers. You can sign up for my email list and message me if you want the tracers, or usually I send one free one out a month anyway. Okay, so I've done my background. I want a little bit more gold in here, or this deep ochre, and I'm going to do my edges. I'm only going to do the side edges, and you will see why in a little bit. Okay, and flip it around. My brush already has the white and this deep ochre on it, and I'm just going to do my edges. You see I'm flipping over my brush from one side to the next, so I'm getting a variety of color on there. Okay? And that is it. Let me move my paints. That is it for our background. If you need to hit the pause and catch up, go right ahead. That is the beauty of having these tutorials on YouTube, so you can paint at your own pace. All right, and I'm going to wash my brush. A painting progresses from the bottom up. So we do the background, then we do our main elements, and we work our way up to the top. Sometimes I attribute it to making a pizza. You start with the dough, you add the sauce, maybe some spices, the cheese, and then the toppings. I'm going to, let me see if I can do this. Nope, it's not coming on. Let me see. Nope. Okay, I'm just going to move on. So I'm going to put out 2 oranges. I have out spiced pumpkin, which is a bit of a deep orange. And then canyon orange. If you just have 1 orange, that's fine. I like to use the deeper orange and the brighter orange. You may or may not be able to see the difference on my palette. I like to use both, and these are 2 of my favorite colors for fall, along with this saffron yellow. And then, believe it or not, one of my other fall colors is patina. This is a palette that I use quite often. Okay, I have my 2 oranges. I'm going to dip into both of my oranges together with my brush, and I'm going to start base coating in my pumpkin. I'm going to try to avoid the stem. If I get some on, it's okay. You'll notice that acrylic paint and me are very forgiving when it comes to art. It's art. It can't be wrong. And I'm more about the feelings I get in my heart and soul when I'm painting than I am about the actual finished product. Do we all want to create cute stuff? Yeah, of course we do. Okay, so I'm just taking both of my oranges on my brush. I'm using the 1-inch flat brush. And I'm coming in here and I'm just base coating in the pumpkin. Okay? We got a little bit of orange spilt over there. I'll clean that up in a minute. I'm going to wash my brush and give it a nice dry. And then I'm just going to pick up some of this yellow that I had over here and fix where I dripped orange onto my canvas. See? Very forgiving. Voila. I got a little on my stem there. We're not going to worry about that. Okay? I'm going to add some black to my palette now. I'm still using the same brush. And I'm going to do the top edge and the bottom edge. Okay, and then we want our black to come in to our painting. So I'm picking up a little bit of black and I'm feathering it in. I'm laying my brush on the edge of the canvas and I'm pulling in these little strokes. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom. Pick up some black paint. I'm going to paint the black edge. And then just like I did at the top, I'm going to start pulling in some black paint. I'm almost like wiping my brush off on the edge of the canvas. I'm coming up the sides a little bit, but not too much. More so on the bottom and the top. And again, it's almost like I'm just wiping my brush off. I have some paint on my brush and I want to wipe it off on my canvas. And there we go. Got a little bit of black on there, but I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to go into my spiced pumpkin, this deeper orange that I have, and I'm going to do a second coat onto the bottom of my pumpkin. I want the bottom of my pumpkin to be a little bit darker, and I'm just pulling up with this spiced pumpkin. Okay. Okay. Then I'm going to go into my lighter orange and I'm going to pull down from the top. Remember I said orange tends to be a little translucent. So I am putting the lighter orange to the top of my pumpkin and the darker orange to the bottom of my pumpkin. Get that little section up there and got that little section up there. Okay. And again, I'm going to wash my brush. And while we let that dry, I'm going to go to my smaller flat brush. I'm going to go into my black and I'm going to do the curly Q. I'm standing my brush up on the chisel edge. I'm coming out from the top of the pumpkin. I'm getting thinner at the end and I put a little loop-de-loop in it. Okay, then up here I'm going to paint in the stem. Again, I'm using the chisel edge. That makes my brush strokes a little bit more narrow. And I'm pulling down into my pumpkin where I painted over my stem a little bit. Again, we want the edge to flare out. And then I'm going to paint in this little loop. So there we go. Just have this attach a little bit thicker there. Okay. And I'm going to wash this brush. I'm going to go back to my thicker brush. Fill it with black again. And I'm going to start coming in here. I'm going to put a little bit of black shading under the bottom of my pumpkin. I have my brush on a 45. I'm I'm going back and forth, and I'm just adding a little bit of shading under here to the bottom. We can go all the way into the frame here if we want, or we can leave it. It's up to you. I follow the outline of my pumpkin and have it basically even on each side. Okay. I might want to, see how this part's a little bit higher? I mean a little bit lower? Then I'm going to shorten that up. There we go. It looks much better. Again, on the 45 and scrub. Okay. Now I'm going to switch to my liner brush. I like to wet my liner brush first. I want all the fibers of my liner brush to come together. I have my white. I'm going to roll my brush between my thumb and my forefinger. And I'm going to start adding in some white highlights to the top of my pumpkin. I'm just coming in here with the liner brush and pulling in some white highlights. I want to make it a little bit more full in here with the white. I might pick up the little flat brush. We'll see. I'm going around the stem and I'm just dragging in some white here. Just picking up a little bit of the orange, and that's okay. Still giving a little bit of highlight to our pumpkin. Almost like the top of our pumpkin is having some light shown on it, and then underneath the round it's going to be a little bit darker. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. Oop. Okay, while I have the white on my brush, I'm going to add a little bit of highlight to my stem and the vines. Ooh. And then I'm going to wash my brush. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom, except now I'm going to do it with black. So I'm going to roll my brush in the black paint, and I'm going to start adding in these little strokes of black paint, adding some highlight to the bottom of my pumpkin. A little black goes a very long way, so we don't want to overdo it. I'm just gently pulling up with my brush. These lines are not completely connected. I'm almost like making little tiny slash marks, and then I want to add a little bit of darkness up where I had my white. Want to add a little bit more, you can. Sometimes the black paint can be a little bit overpowering, so I don't like to add too much. And I think that is good. And I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to take some gold paint. This is 14 karat gold from Folk Art Clay Paints. You don't have to use it. You can use it. It's up to you if you want. I'm washing my brushes because I don't want to make a big splatter mess. I'm going to dry them off really well. I need 2 brushes for this, or you can use a toothbrush. But I like this part. It's a little bit neater. Okay. I am going to move you guys over. Load my smaller brush up with this gold paint. And then I'm going to tap. And if you can see, let's pick up a little bit more paint. I'm splattering gold effects on my art. And it looks really, really cool. And you can do as much of this or as little bit of it as you want. And there you have it. We turn you guys around. And here is the magical pumpkin. Like I said, you can use any color palette that you want. Enjoy. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you soon.